Hi, I'm PTE coach Willie from Hong Kong. I'm going to film this in English audience from all over the world can take the reference from my practice test result and my attempt. So why I have this idea is because quite a number of students have asked me, do I have to be flawless or perfectly perfect in order to get 79 or above or even 19 in speaking? So I'm going to take once very unprepared to see how it scores. So before I start the attempt, a little bit about myself. I had scored more than 79 in each session in my PTE attempt in December 2019, and I hadn't been taking any other official mock tests thereafter. I didn't really practice before taking this mock test again. So I don't really guarantee it will be flawless, but on the other hand, I can guarantee I will make some mistake. So let's see how it goes and if I can score more than 79. So here we go. So it is 26th of September in 2020. It's 10:30 a.m. and I'm going to take the score test B and I'm going to take the speaking test first and see how it goes. So it is part one of the exam, speaking and writing. I will just complete the speaking part and there it will take me around 21 minutes. Let's start. The course includes an extensive unit on climate change and requires all students to read the Stern Review on the Economics of Climate Change, which was published last year. The course delves into the science and behind the issue, the challenges it poses to business and government, as well as a discussion on possible solutions. Okay, the course delves into the science behind the issue, the challenges it poses to business and government, as well as a discussion on possible solutions. The course includes an extensive unit on climate change. The course includes an extensive unit on climate change and requires all students to read the Stern Review on the Economics of Climate Change, which was published last year. The course delves into the science behind the issue, the challenges it poses to business and government, as well as a discussion on possible solutions. In the fast-changing world of modern healthcare, the job of a doctor is more and more like the job of a chief executive. The people who run hospitals and physicians' practices don't just need to know medicine. They must also be able to balance budgets, motivate a large and diverse staff, and make difficult marketing and legal decisions. In the fast-changing world of modern healthcare, the job of a doctor is more and more like. In the fast-changing world of modern healthcare, the job of a doctor is more and more like the job of a chief executive. The people who run hospitals and physicians' practices don't just need to know medicine. They must also be able to balance budgets, motivate a large and diverse staff, and make difficult marketing and legal decisions. Environmental problems caused by hard rock mining involve water pollution by metals themselves, chemical used in processing, acid drainage, and sediment. Metals and metal-like elements in the ore are toxic and prone to cause trouble by ending up in nearby streams and water tables as a result of mining operations. Metal and metal-like elements in the ore are toxic and prone to cause trouble by ending up in nearby streams and water tables as a result of mining operations. Environmental problems caused by hard rock mining. Environmental problems caused by hard rock mining involve water pollution by metals themselves, chemicals used in processing, acid drainage, and sediment. Metals and metal-like elements in the ore are toxic and prone to cause trouble by ending up in nearby streams and water tables as a result of mining operations. In recent years, there have been one or two significant happenings that have kept alive in the hope that the deep sea may conceal strange links with the past. In December 1938, off the southeast tip of Africa, an amazing fish was caught alive, a fish that was supposed to have been dead for at least 60 million years.
In recent years, there have been one or two significant happenings that have kept alive and hope that. In recent years, there have been one or two significant happenings that have kept alive the hope that the deep sea may conceal strange links with the past. In December 1938, off the southeast tip of Africa, an amazing fish was caught alive, a fish that was supposed to have been dead for at least 60 million years. In multilingual countries, code mixing, the use of more than one variety in the same utterance or sentence, and code switching, the use of different languages or varieties between sentences is common and natural. Despite its frequency, or perhaps because of it, some scholars and self-appointed guardians of linguistic morality view both code mixing and code switching as a sign of linguistic deficiency. Multilingual countries commission the use of more in the same utterance and sentence, and code switching. Utterance in multilingual countries. In multilingual countries, code mixing, the use of more than one variety in the same utterance or sentence, and code switching, the use of different languages or varieties between sentences is common and natural. Despite its frequency, or perhaps because of it, some scholars and self-appointed guardians of linguistic morality view both code mixing and code switching as a sign of linguistic deficiency. In this landmark account, first published over 20 years ago, the author argues that the ignorance and lethargy of the poor are the direct result of the whole situation of economic, social, and political domination. By being kept in a situation in which critical awareness and response are practically impossible, the disadvantaged are kept submerged. In fact, I've been pointing my fingers at the monitor of the computer to make sure I can do the pointed reading, to make sure I can minimize the mistakes as small as possible, as little as possible. In this landmark account, first published over 20 years ago, the author argues that the ignorance and lethargy of the poor are the direct result of the whole situation of economic, social, and political domination. By being kept in a situation in which critical awareness and response are practically impossible, the disadvantaged are kept submerged.
Students must observe lab safety regulations at all times.
Students must observe lab safety regulations at all times.
It's the words of common occurrence that have different referential value.
It's the words of common occurrence that have the different referential value.
The office said Dr. Smith will arrive later today.
The office said Dr. Smith will arrive later today.
Student Services provides help with housing and transport.
Student Services provide help in housing and transport.
A study skills seminar is on for students who require assistance.
A study skills seminar is for the students who require additional assistance.
Any textual references you make should be cited appropriately in the footnotes.
Any text or references you make must be cited appropriately in the footnotes.
The research paper should begin with a thorough review of the literature.
The research paper must be taken for a thorough review of the literature.
The aesthetic implications of this study have not yet been fully explored.
The aesthetics of the study have not been fully explored.
The inherent tension between these two features remains to be addressed.
The high intention between these two features remain to be addressed.
Journalism is the collection and publication or transmission of news.
Journalism is the collection and publication and transmission of news. It is a picture showing the largest cities worldwide. I'm going to this picture with things to compare. New York 21, London 8, Tokyo 36 in 2005, maximum in 2005, Tokyo 36, minimum London 58. It is a picture showing the largest cities worldwide. According to this picture, we are seeing several things to compare, including millions and 2000, as well as Mexico City and Sao Paulo. According to this line graph, we are seeing the maximum point is Tokyo in 2015, which is 36. In addition, we can also see the minimum point is London in 1950, which is only 8. In addition, we can also see 18 and 23, as well as 11 and 12. Moreover, we can also see 17 and 21 as well as Mumbai and Bombay. In conclusion, it is a line chart showing the largest cities worldwide. Kilocalories a day. Calories a day. North America, Europe, Central Asia, World Africa. Maximum 1995, 3,600. 3,600, minimum Africa 1975, 22,200, 2,000. It is a line graph showing the kilocalories a day. According to this line graph, we are seeing several things to compare, including North America and Europe, as well as Central Asia and the world. According to this line graph, we are seeing the maximum point is North America in 1995, which is 3,600. In addition, we can also see the minimum point is Africa in 1975, which is only around 2,200. In addition, we can also see 1918 and 1985, as well as 1919 and 20,000. In conclusion, it is a line graph showing the kilocalories a day. Okay, so you might notice that I have made a number of mistakes, but it doesn't matter, just to keep up the fluency and you will be fine. Pie chart figure 1 injury location, roles maximum home 41.4%, minimum other 2%, roles work, school, childcare, leisure, sport, gray, purple, blue, light blue, deep blue. It is a picture and pie chart showing the figure 1 injury location. According to this pie chart, we are seeing several things to compare, including school and healthcare, as well as roads and leisure. According to this pie chart, we are seeing the maximum point is home, which is 41.4%. On the other hand, we are seeing the minimum point is other, which is 2%. In addition, we can also see school and childcare, as well as gray and blue. In conclusion, it is a pie chart showing the figure 1 injury location as well as the roles at 19.5%. It is a line graph showing the population growth and projected population of Sydney from 1976 to 2031. 2031 projected 5 million, 5.3 million, 3 million, 1976 consensus. 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, 2 million, 1 million. It is a line graph showing the population growth and projected population of Sydney from 1976 to 2031. According to this line graph, we are seeing several things to compare, which are 2,002 million, as well as 3 million and 1 million. According to this line chart, we are seeing the maximum point is 5.3 million, which is 2031 projected. On the other hand, we are seeing the minimum point is only 3 million, which is 1976 consensus and census. In addition, we can also see 4 million and 5 million. In conclusion, it is a line graph showing the population growth. So you see, I'm also make one or two mistakes including the numbers as well as managing the time, which is a little bit tight. So if you encounter a little bit tight on the timing, so make sure you keep an eye on the timer and make sure you can manage it in time. So for example, what I did is to minimize the sentence in conclusion, which I just mentioned the population growth. In conclusion, it is a line chart showing the population growth. So managing in time is more important than to follow the template word to word. So it is a diagram showing different heights, the buildings. The maximum is 1,670 feet. Minimum is 1,450 feet. Sears Tower, Chicago. Petronas Tower 1 and 2, Kuala Lumpur. Taipei 101, Taipei. It is a diagram showing different heights and buildings. According to this diagram, we are seeing several things to compare, which are 1,483 feet as well as the Petronas Tower 1 and 2. According to this diagram, we are seeing the maximum height is Taipei 101 in Taipei, which is more than 1,600 feet. On the other hand, we are seeing the minimum height is Sears Tower in Chicago, which is only 1,450 feet. In addition, we can also see Kuala Lumpur and different heights of the buildings. In addition, in conclusion, it is a diagram showing the buildings. So I made a few typo and I mean mistakes during my speaking. I don't think it doesn't really matter. It's just minor mistakes, and we will see how it goes. It is a line chart showing the manufacturing output in the UK. According to this line chart, we have several things to compare, including percentage and year, as well as 92 and 94. The maximum point is 2001, which is 1,104. Minimum is 2003, which is 96. It is a line graph showing the manufacturing output in the UK. According to this line chart, we are seeing several things to compare, including percentage and year, as well as 92 and 94. According to this line chart, we are seeing the maximum point is 2001, which is 104. On the other hand, we are seeing the minimum point is 2003, which is only 96. Furthermore, we can also see 2005 and 2006, as well as 2007 and 2004. In addition, we can also see 1999 and 2000. In conclusion, it is a line chart showing the manufacturing output in the UK.
Milk is not typical of all monasteries for many reasons. First, it is very grand, which most, especially later foundations, aren't. Secondly, it was founded in the countryside, whereas in the 17th and 18th centuries, a good proportion of foundations were made in towns. Thirdly, it still owns a substantial amount of land, because fourthly, it lies in the Austrian Republic, the only European country where grand old monasteries have been in continuous existence since they were founded, 900, 1,000, even in one case 1,200 years ago.
The speaker provides useful information regarding the topic of Milk Monastery, Austria. According to this speaker, she talks about very grand and latest foundation, as well as countryside in 17th century. In addition, she also talks about 19th century as well as the town and substantial amount of land. Furthermore, she also talks about the Austrian Republic as well as the existence. In addition, she also talks about 900 years ago or 12,000 years ago. In conclusion, the speaker provides useful information regarding the topic of Milk Monastery in Austria.
Corruption comes at a huge economic and social cost. and that cost is felt most acutely by the world's poor. Dr. Arnold has already given the staggering figure of $1 trillion US that's paid in bribes worldwide. It is an extraordinary figure. It's a figure that equals 10 times what is paid each year by donors in international development assistance. 10 times development assistance. And even this huge amount, $1 trillion, could be an underestimate because it's very difficult to capture a number of the more elusive transactions within the public sector that involve corrupt dealings, such as budget leakages and asset theft. Corruption sharpens income inequality and it impacts disproportionately on the poor. In many countries, corruption works as a regressive tax on household incomes. Regressive because it impacts much more on the poor than the more wealthy. Compared with higher income groups, lower income families pay a much larger share of their incomes in bribes to access basic public services, and their overall access to those services is reduced.
The speaker provides useful information regarding the topic of corruption. According to the speaker, he talks about the economical social cost as well as the world and the poor. In addition, he also talks about $1 trillion paid in bribes as well as the 10 times of the international development system. Furthermore, he also talks about the underestimated and transaction as well as the public sector. In addition, he also talks about the budget and sharpened income as well as many countries. Moreover, he also talks about the regressive tax and wealthy as well as the larger share and basic public services. In conclusion, it is a lecture.
This is Hans Krebs, who in 1937 published a paper showing the sequence of chemical reactions by which energy is released in individual cells. It's called the Krebs cycle, which some of you may remember from your chemistry course in high school. Krebs is a wonderful example to me of how a scientist who is determined can overcome all kinds of human obstacles. Krebs' father constantly discouraged him and told him that he had just mediocre intelligence and would never do anything important in his life as a teenager. What Krebs remembers in his memoir, his father said to him, "You can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear." And later on, when Krebs studied with the great biochemist Otto Warburg, Warburg also told him the same thing, not the same quotes, but that he had only mediocre ability and would never be a great scientist. And we all hear about how important it is for parents to encourage their children, but sometimes the children will go on to do great things no matter what we say to them.
Published paper. The speaker provides useful information regarding the topic of Hans Krebs. According to the speaker, he talks about published a paper as in chemical reactions as well as individual cells and Krebs cycle. In addition, he also talks about scientists and overcome as well as human obstacles and father. Furthermore, he also talks about teenagers and great biologists as well as same thing and same quotes. Furthermore, he also talks about never be a great scientist and parents as well as great things. In conclusion, it is a very important topic on Hans Krebs.
To which of our senses do all of the following words relate? Opaque, vivid, brilliant, shiny.
Seeing, eyesight.
In a recession, does economic activity increase, slow down, or stay the same?
Slows down, slow down.
In medical terms, are antibodies harmful or beneficial for patients?
beneficial.
Would a person suffering problems with their vision consult a biologist or an optometrist?
Optometrist.
Would fresh milk last longer in a fridge or in a cool cupboard?
In the fridge.
Historians use evidence to draw conclusions about the past. Would a contemporary artist's painting of an ancient battle be an original source or a secondary source?
Original source.
What is the subject of study at a culinary institute?
I don't know.
Where would you expect to find equipment like microscopes, Bunsen burners, beakers, and petri dishes?
Laboratory.
What is the name of the field of study that studies the human mind and behavior?
Psychology.
A planet or galaxy that is very distant can be seen with what device?
Telescope. So as you see, if I come across something that I don't know in answer short questions, I just say I don't know. It is perfect fine because answer short question doesn't contribute to a lot of marks and you don't need to worry about it. But if you don't know the answer, make sure you say something like I don't know. It's perfectly okay to keep up your fluency and pronunciation marks. So I'm going to click the next for the rest of the questions so I can see how much marks or my scores on the speaking alone. And to see how my speaking contributes to the other parts of the exam. So going to click next. So you have just seen a page that you have the optional break. Sorry about that. Optional break for 10 minutes after you finish the reading session. So between the reading session, make sure you go to washroom or have a chance to wash your face and get yourself a little bit more energetic or more attentive for the rest of the listening task, especially for the write from dictation, which is a very important task of PTE, which contributes a lot of marks to your listening and writing. So it will be the last part of the exam. So here is the write from dictation session. So it is the very, very last part. So I'm going to click OK, submit all the test, and I'm going to get myself a cup of coffee and see how it goes in like 20 minutes later.
A few moments later.
So it's time to see the result. So it is the score test B I did an hour ago, and this score test A was not done by me, it's by another user which I have borrowed his account to perform the score test B. Anyway, let's see how it goes. Alright, so I got the speaking 84 and the fluency I scored 83, which pretty high marks, and for pronunciation I only scored 48. It's pretty much because I was quite nervous, especially in the first session read aloud, and I spoke really quite fast, and I did some compromise on my pronunciation. And of course, I haven't been taking the official mock test for quite a long time, for around a year, so I was really quite nervous, which affected my score. And for listening, I scored 37, which reveals that my repeat sentences and also my retail lecture were quite good. as you can see in my attempt video, that in the repeat sentences, I did quite a number of mistakes, and I didn't repeat 100% for every question, but turned out that my speaking is still quite good, and for reading it's quite disappointing indeed, because I only scored 28. I expected to score more than 30, but with the same reason, I suspect that it is mainly because my read aloud was too fast, so some of the words were not properly pronounced. So anyway, the conclusion is, for you to score a high marks more than 79 in speaking, you don't really have to be completely flawless or really have to be perfectly perfect. As you can hear, I do have a Hong Kongish accent. I don't really speak like Uncle Seal or really a native speaker. But the most important thing is, in PTE, accent is not really being considered. It is officially written in the score guide and also the student handbooks, etc. That the accent is not a problem. So you can see a lot of people who have an Indian accent, or like a Middle East accent, or whatever Chinese accent, whatever, they can still score very high in speaking. So accent is not a problem. The most important thing is you have to be fluent, but at the same time, I would say you don't really need to speak really too fast. Pronunciation is very important as well. And the second thing is you have to be relaxed. Actually, the tension can affect your performance a lot. So I think it is really one of the most important things for you to perform in any of the tests as well. So hope this video helps, and see you next time. And if you have any question regarding the mock test, do let me know in the comments below.